Hello and welcome to the National Family Legacy Podcast. My name is Andy, and today I had the opportunity to sit down again with Kyra Stewart. We did 2 podcasts together, and in this episode, we learned a lot about the stories that have happened here of people who have gone through their programs and got help from FSA and who were able to get a hand up, not just a handout. And I'm really excited for you to hear this episode.
Welcome to the National Family Legacy Podcast, where we explore uplifting narratives from organizations making a positive impact in our world. To connect with us or explore further, visit our website at nationalfamilylegacy.org. We're thrilled that you've joined us for today's episode.
Kyra, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us here at your guys' facilities. We're so excited to talk to you again. In the last episode, we learned a bit about who you are and all the services that go that happen here at FSA. And we mentioned at the end of the last episode that there were some stories that we're going to hear about people who experienced some good things here at FSA. And so, if you could start off by telling us some of those stories of people that have experienced some help here.
Sure. I just want to preface the conversation by we protect the dignity of our clients, and so the way I tell the stories will be very anonymous, just in alignment both legally, ethically, and out of respect.
Yes.
Part of our mission statement is to uphold the dignity of everyone that we serve. So I will share them from my perspective. The ones that are recent and the ones that I'm very proud of relate really to the self-sufficiency aspect of the programming that we talked about earlier. So we have a Breakfast Club of Redlands scholarship. That's the name of it.
Wow.
The reason why we named it the Breakfast Club is because there is a wonderful group of ladies who form their own nonprofit called the Breakfast Club of Redlands.
Wow.
And for more than 75 years, it's a social group, and they wrap their arms around the agency with a scholarship fund. And they do that through a fashion show and a brunch in November that they host with a bake sale. And so every year, at least for the past 5 years, I know we've received around $10,000 annually that goes into a fund. Through that fund, we focus on unemployed and underemployed clients who either need to get on a better route to self-sufficiency, earning power, right? Or they're completely unemployed and we want to get them into. And so that scholarship fund allows for work expenses, tuition, books, license renewals, and pretty much anything that would open up an avenue for a job or a better paying job. So recently, one of our single moms who had endured a lot in her past arrived at the agency specifically for the housing program. And we have an employment specialist / case manager who does like half-time housing and half-time employment. She was assigned to that case manager. And in their interactions with each other, our case manager recognized that there was some room for growth via, career opportunities. So a career plan was created, and that particular mom wanted to work on a real estate license. Well, in order to work on your real estate license, you have to pass a few courses, and the courses are easily accessible online, but there's a cost. So the agency dipped into that scholarship fund, and we were able to pay for her classes and her preparation to take the test materials, and she just passed her real estate test.
Oh, how amazing.
So she's already looking at a couple of career opportunities in the real estate world, and we're just so excited because that is a perfect and tangible example of someone who can be in crisis, come here, not just get stabilized, but flourish and grow in the future. So we're excited for her.
That is so amazing. And what an incredible fun that you guys have going on there, specifically for people who want to get more education.
Oh, yes.
And that must have been so amazing for her. And then also, is there a team of people that were around her helping her get all that done?
Yes.
And they all know already too?
Well, her case manager and her case manager calendared her test date. This is what I mean when I say I love my team. She calendared her test date and emailed her and said, "I'm thinking about you today. Good luck on your test." And
That's so
that
amazing.
little touch lifted her spirits so
Yeah.
much. And she said, "Oh my goodness, you remembered. Thank you."
I'm sure that meant so much.
So, yeah, her team really was her case manager, but it's just such a, the real estate exam is not easy
No,
either.
no way.
So
Yeah.
it's just an indication of touching someone's lives and making
Yes.
an impact through that fund.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, about you guys aren't here to give handouts, you're here to give a hand up. I mean, that is so good. So that, I mean, I can't imagine how many doors open up, when you have a job like that and you can start making a bit more money and helping your family or whatever situation you might be in.
And I will say too, in alignment with telling interesting impact stories in life, you never know when the tables will turn.
Right.
You could go from a donor to a client or the other way around.
Wow.
And that's why I teach my staff the importance of customer service
Mm.
and that every interaction matters, right?
Yeah.
So I have a story about an elderly disabled person who came to our agency to get help a few years ago.
Mm.
She was waiting on a claim, like a disability VA claim, I think. But point in time, she literally had very limited resources, and we helped her with rent and motel.
Mm.
Well, she won her claim, and she won a very big back payment.
Oh, wow.
And she came back and dropped off a check. So the client became the donor.
Wow.
And I have another story of a woman who, because we've been here so long, there's so many generational stories.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a woman who's in a career path now in Silicon Valley, working for an organization that's like a tech company. So she's making very good money.
Wow.
And is in a career that's lucrative. But when she was younger, she was low income and she was local, and her mother was diagnosed with cancer and passed away. But in that process of chemo and treatment and illness, she remembers coming here.
Wow.
Well, that tech agency opened up a charitable arm. And guess who got to make the grant decisions for the
Wow.
year?
That is so amazing.
The same person who received our services.
Wow.
So she reached out to us, which is really unheard of in the nonprofit world.
Right.
You don't really proactively get a grant. You always have to be like searching
Asking
for
for it,
grants.
yeah.
But she proactively reached out
Wow.
and said, "I'm so happy to let you know that, you've been approved for a grant." And
Wow.
so again, you just never know. Someone could be in a certain plight of life or in a certain situation, right? In one chapter of life, and then things change. So
Yeah.
the tables can turn. So we all should be mindful of that
Right.
in our own lives
Yeah.
too, right?
Man, I mean, that is just a testament to the amazing work that you're doing, that these aren't just like little moments throughout people's lives, although for some people maybe it is just a good moment, but these are actually like life-changing moments at the same time, where for her to think about you guys here as a big step in her life and ultimately give back, that's a testament to the work that you guys are doing here. And I'm sure that's also it should highlight the amazing staff that you guys have here, who are putting in the hours to help people who are experiencing these things. If you could tell us a little bit about your staff, actually, I'd love to know about, are there any like staff members that you can highlight that are doing a great job? Because this is, it's meaningful work, it's good work, and I can imagine it's also hard work sometimes to figure out how to help somebody. So are there any staff members that you could highlight?
Well, absolutely. The one that I just mentioned, who puts the little thoughtful touches into her case management skill set, right? Because not everybody has that. That's unique and thoughtfulness.
Yeah.
We have a case manager here who all along, ever since she's been hired, I think she's been here probably close to 5 years or longer.
Oh, wow.
Has been working on her master's in social work all along. And she also works with kind of a different subpopulation for a contract that we have that's focused on chronically homeless, which is a totally different type of case management. And she's very client-centered. And I want to give you an example of what I mean. She had a homeless client, a young adult male client who got a job, and he was really working on his own goals, but he didn't have transportation. So she thought outside the box. Obviously, Family Service can't buy a car for him,
Right.
but we utilized our scholarship fund to buy a bike for him.
Wow.
Which, right?
Yeah,
That's outside the box, right?
definitely.
Well, not only did she buy the bike for him, when the bike got delivered, she assembled it for him
Wow.
and called him when it was ready.
Oh, how amazing.
So that's the kind of staff
Yeah.
that I work with. And she's actually still here. She just finished up
Her master's?
her master's. I think she still has some curriculum hours to do, because anybody who's in that
Right.
world, your hours are never done.
Right.
But yeah, she's been all along plugging away at her, but she's so client centered.
Right.
Just she thinks different,
Yeah,
right, than
yeah.
a lot of us think.
That's so amazing. Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, I'm sure there's a spectrum of people that work in social services, but that is, I feel like, a very special kind of personality. The person who is able to think of the needs and maybe the special touches that they can give that make someone feel seen and special, and also get the job done so that the people can be uplifted as well, which is amazing. Which makes me wonder, for in the social work world, I can imagine that it could be kind of difficult sometimes. Do you have any encouragement to maybe someone who's listening that is in social work? I mean, from talking to you, you seem like an incredible boss and manager,
Oh, thank you.
and I feel inspired by the things that you're saying. What would you say to the person that's working in social work that, is, kind of stressed out, maybe feeling like, are they making a difference? Do you have anything to say to them?
Well, stress resiliency is a real thing. And I think in one part of your life, you may be a little bit more resilient than others. So recognizing that as you progress in your career, your resiliency may change. And avoiding burnout, which is such a cliche thing to say, but I'll give you, I guess, a personal example. Taking the staycations, right? It doesn't have to be something big, but like this past weekend, I packed up my car and went to San Diego and spent one night in a resort
That's
in a nice
amazing.
area,
Yeah.
just to get away. And so planning for costs for things like that are important.
Yeah.
But the daily stuff that we tell everyone, whether you're in social work or not, just your self-care, what that looks like, what that means for you personally. If you're not a morning person, then don't force yourself to be a morning person. You can be just as productive on your own schedule, right? But embedding time slots for stress relief, whether that's walking, exercising, reading, journaling, it is crucial in this world. And knowing when it's time to end a chapter. Like, if you know that you can't do direct client services anymore, and maybe you want to develop a different niche, social service world also means marketing. It also means writing. It also means technology.
Wow.
It also means grant writing. I mean, nonprofits are ran like a business. They really are. So maybe exploring a different avenue other than direct client services in the back office, like administration or payroll or marketing or social media.
Right.
So you can still be in that world, but maybe if you're so burnt out with the direct client services, because it does start to impact and affect mental health, you could consider a different avenue in that world.
That's amazing. And that is great advice for sure. Because I can imagine maybe, they just graduated college with a social work degree and they start working, and then maybe it doesn't seem exactly how they thought it was going to be. But, but then,
happens a lot, actually.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've had friends that have gone to the social work, but kind of like how you said, there's a lot of different avenues there. And I have friends that, tried out a specific area, and then they found that it wasn't for them, but then they found another area still within social work that they're thriving. I have a cousin that does counseling for different schools that don't have counselors. I don't know exactly what it is, but again, she found that from jumping from another area in social work. So it's very important work for sure. Yeah.
It's important to recognize your skill set and your gifts and how they will best be utilized, and then finding the opportunities that align. And sometimes it takes a while to figure that out.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. So you guys help out also with housing assistance. Are there any stories you could tell us about people who have received funds specifically for maybe rent or, a payment that they're not able to pay themselves that month?
Well, the housing world in Southern California is difficult and complex, and there's a lot of different layers and reasons why people end up in crisis. Affordability is one, and then housing stock as compared to the low income population. We have a 1 million home deficit in our
Wow.
state. Now, I will say those numbers are probably improving since I last researched them, because I know the state of California has been very committed to building, land acquisition, and developing low-income housing. Um, but in terms of success stories, I would say anyone we face clients who are been in a domestic abuse situation and want to leave and are at the point in that relationship where they're ready for a new start and to remove themselves. When you're experiencing parenthood, whether you have a roof over your head or not, it's already a difficult journey. It's not easy taking care of kids, especially when you have to work. So managing that. But we also see a lot of households who have special needs children. That in and of itself, right, is a journey. And have also experienced unhoused single moms. Add that layer. You're
Wow.
unhoused, you're
Yeah.
a single mom, you're trying to work, you don't have a lot of support, and your child needs extra attention or has special medical needs.
Right.
So anytime we're able to stabilize a situation like that, which is often, we're very happy for that opportunity, as well as the client participant who's receiving the help.
Right.
But the stories are endless.
Right.
Common profile, again, low income, in crisis, in some type of temporary crisis, who just needs a hand up, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we see a lot of that.
Yeah. You're talking about the housing shortage and kind of some of the issues that people face here in California specifically. How is it working with local government and landlords and stuff like that? Like, do you guys interact with them? If you do, like, what is that like? Is it often positive, or is that one of the battles in this realm of work?
Oh, great question. It's a mix of all of that. First place, I'll say it's been great. We have been selected several times for partnerships with both our San Bernardino County office
Oh, wow.
through a grant called HAP, which is State of California funding. Thank goodness it's not federal, because we have a lot of threats around federal funding
wow.
right now. And then we also have received a partnership with the city of Redlands, which is funneled money through the state. So through those two government partnerships, it's been amazing.
Wow.
And then in terms of housing, it's just a struggle. It's a struggle to find landlords willing. After COVID, post-COVID, I think trust levels
Went down.
because a lot of landlords lost a lot of income for people who weren't paying their rent due to COVID.
Right.
And so what we saw in 22, 23, and even now is landlords want this huge deposit, which
Gotcha.
no one, not even someone with a competitive salary, could afford, to
Right.
be honest.
Wow.
So they want these big, big, big deposits in order to secure themselves. And who can blame them, right? It's just figuring out how to utilize the government funding, which sometimes the requirements are really strict, and the partnerships with our foundations to help that client in that situation. But the landlord relationships are so important,
Right.
and they're tricky,
Right.
right? Because imagine you're a landlord, you've got this space that you've invested in. What you need to know is that you're going to have reliable income every month, and that you trust that person to take care of that property.
Right.
If that person has bad credit or a previous eviction, immediately your flags are going to
flag.
go up,
Right.
and you're going to be resistant. So that portion of our housing is a work in progress.
Right.
We have a few landlords that we've developed trust with, that we've been working with. We also have room and board. So sometimes a person is maybe not ready to go straight into housing. They might need an in-between,
Gotcha.
like a roommate or room and board, or maybe even a treatment center before they go into housing. But it's so complicated and
Yeah.
complex. It's really case by case.
And so when you say you work with landlords, are there actual people that you work with and you say, hey, can we save this property as a place for people to stay throughout, a couple months, or
Yes.
how does that work?
So we have what's called a landlord commitment letter,
Mm.
right? So let's say in a 3-day pay or quit notice situation, and the tenant has applied for online for our housing funds. The first thing we do, other than contact them and assess them, is take this letter to your landlord. And basically, the letter says the landlord's going to be willing to work with a social service agency. So we have them sign, turn in the proper paperwork to move forward. And it kind of gives the landlord a level of security.
Right.
And it's to their advantage to work with us, because who wants to go through an eviction process?
Right.
That means eviction fees. That means your loss of income for rent, right? Plus the whole 90 days legal action that you have to take, and that person doesn't have to pay rent. They would much rather work with a social service provider
That
than
makes
to
sense.
continue on the journey of eviction. So, unfortunately, we meet them often while the tenant is in crisis. But we've also done some proactive work through board relationships, through some of our board members who might be landlords and are willing to take the risk because our name is on the line, right? But it is just a work in progress. It's not easy. It's really not an easy thing, because there's a resistance.
Yeah.
Right? Why would someone want someone with bad credit in their unit?
Right.
And a lot of our clients, because of income challenges, do end up with bad credit or a past eviction. So
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to make it sound easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, that sounds like it could be a battle for sure, with all sorts of factors coming to play. And I can imagine, from a landlord's position too, they might feel nervous if, you come to them and be like, hey, we want to create this relationship. I would hope that they would jump at it, be like, I want to help people. But like you said, they might want to protect their assets and whatnot. And
Yes.
that makes sense. But that is a very special and worthy battle. I see you guys fighting for people who are experiencing, that sounds like for at-risk homeless, where if this doesn't work out,
Right.
then they might end up on the street. And to me, I'm thinking it is so worth it to advocate on their behalf and find homes for them to, even if it's just another month where they have to work harder to get, paid the next month, that's a special battle and an important one for sure.
One thing I would like to share is recognizing the complexity of housing. In 2023, our board members, clients, participants, staff did a strategic plan collaboratively, and we came out of those sessions recognizing, hey, housing, what are we going to do? How is family service going to bridge the gap between this huge glaring issue and the clients we serve? Our phones are ringing off the hook. Our clients have nowhere to go. We have clients that have Section 8 vouchers but can't find a landlord to rent to them.
Wow.
We call the Section 8 voucher the golden ticket. They have the golden ticket but can't find anyone to rent to them.
Man.
So we decided to make a commitment as an organization that we would, no matter how big or small, try to fill that gap. And we purchased 2 houses that need a lot of rehabilitation here in Redlands. And we have started the work of a capital campaign, which is essentially going to end up costing about $1 million. But we invested our own money into that project. And when it's all said and done, because we're going to build some ADUs and we're going to rehabilitate the 2 houses that we bought and utilize the land, as well as like this garage space, do a garage conversion, we're ultimately going to be able to house 6 families in that project. And it's called the Almost Home Campaign.
That's amazing.
And we're very excited because we just recognize, like, no matter how big or small, there needs to be a call to action.
Right.
Every church that has land, every landlord that has property, how we need to ask ourselves, how are we going to help the state of California bridge this gap? The government should be responsible for some of it, but anyone who has the resources of land or property should also be involved in that work, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. And man, that is an incredible project that you guys are building there. It was called the Almost at Home project.
The
Sorry to ask you what
almost,
you're
it's
drinking.
called the Almost Home
Oh,
Capital Campaign.
okay,
So
almost
while we're
home.
in fundraising, that's what we're calling it. It's
That's
Almost
a great
Home.
name. Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and how amazing. So 6 families will be able to stay at each
Yes.
property.
Yes.
Wow, that
When
is
it's all done.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. Do you guys have like a timeline? I'm sure it comes with its
Oh, that's
hiccups and
such a
such.
good question. Right now, we're in architectural plans,
Yeah,
drawings, and renderings, and then we'll move on to contract work. So
gotcha.
we're 2 years,
Yeah,
hopefully.
yeah.
I mean, but right now there's a shortage because of the fires and the
All
costs
right.
have increased. But we're hopeful for 2 years for
Yeah,
groundbreaking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we get close to the end of this episode, I want to give you guys an opportunity to share. I mean, if there's ways that people can help,
Yeah.
I'm sure there might be donors that are listening right now, or just maybe local people here in Redlands that love the work that you guys are doing. How can people help you guys from, just the easy stuff to maybe the higher level stuff, or the bigger stuff, I should say?
Oh my goodness, there's so many ways to involve yourself. First place, NFL's been such a wonderful grant maker to work with as a more private foundation and in a way that's impactful. But redlandsfamilyservice.org, you can click on the give link and every dollar helps. And so there are opportunities on the website to give. We also host 3 big fundraisers a year.
Mm.
So we do a walk, a hunger walk, the Redlands Hunger Walk every June at the University of Redlands. Actually, we're fresh off of that walk.
Oh, wow.
First Saturday in June. So it's a family-friendly 5K
That's cool.
with very affordable ticket prices. In the spring, before that, we do, a pub crawl
Oh, cool.
where we get 10 Redlands bars and restaurants engaged, and we put together a path or
Like a route, a
a
map.
route,
Yeah, yeah.
a route and a map where all you can go do tastings at all 10
How fun.
businesses. So we do that in the spring. Again, I think that's around $30 or $40 to attend.
Nice.
And then in the fall, we have a big annual signature fundraiser where we have sponsorship opportunities, underwriting opportunities if you want to donate an auction item so that the fundraising dollars go back to the agency. If you want to volunteer, of course, that's what we call human capital, right?
Right.
So your energy is so valuable and your dollars are too. But yes, it's there's many ways to get involved.
That's amazing. And wow, I'm impressed by all of the fundraisers that you guys do throughout the year. Those are, I'm sure, I've been in event planning before. I know that takes so
have?
much work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm very impressed by all the things that you do. As we finish, one last thing I want to ask. I'm sure there's people that are listening that are donors and maybe just inspired by the work, but maybe this podcast made it to someone who is either experiencing homelessness or maybe is at risk for homelessness. I'm sure they heard by now, go to the website, but maybe if you could offer some kind of encouragement to them as they go on their journey.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be encouraging, but I will try. Being homeless in Southern California is the fight of your life. So you have to, even though you're in crisis, call 211, connect to your resources, stay proactive in your own case, right? We have limited resources, so when you have approval for a program, participate in it. Know that things will get better. Stay optimistic. Lean on your faith system. Lean on your support system. Find your internal strength. Keep fighting every single day because ultimately it will be worth it. But being homeless in California is very difficult, and I think we all need to acknowledge those challenges as we serve people and provide resources for that certain population. It could quite honestly happen to any of us.
Right.
I mean, honestly, like the tables being turned. And so I just encourage anyone who is facing eviction or in a situation where you feel like your stability is being threatened or you feel like you don't have a place to go, fight. Fight. Phone calls, emails, walk-ins,
Right.
and taking advantage of the resources that are there for you.
Right. That's amazing.
We can only help so much. You have to also help yourself.
Right.
Right.
That is huge. Kyra, you are so amazing.
Oh.
Everything you guys do here is
Thank
so
you.
amazing, and we're very impressed, and we're hoping all the best for you guys. Thanks for being here
Thank
today.
you.